How's everybody doing today? Happy Sunday. You see it. Whew, man. Okay. See me. AWS, Oracle RDS. I'll talk about NIST 800-53 with compliance. So that's what we're going to talk about today. I'm let it, give it a little time, let a few people fall in. So just going to talk about the videos I did this week. Once again, if you got any questions, tech or cybersecurity, just drop them in the box. You know how we do it. Like I said, that's what we're going to discuss on. Let's talk about a few videos I did this week. People fall in. Discord's a dangerous place. Somebody created some credential stealers for Discord. Once again, just go check out that video while they're rolling in. Whew, man, I'm tired. So let's keep going. Like I said, it's football season, so I don't know how many people gonna fall in. So we just gonna keep it moving. A couple people went live where I went live, man. I picked this time. I didn't think a lot of people would go live, but it's all good. Just check me on the replay. I did one on the FBI checking the election voting systems, Dominion, cybersecurity. You know, people trying to attack them and guess kind of overthrow democracy, you could say. So the FBI and CISA, which is the critical infrastructure, they thought the voting system was pretty decent. Need to work on a few things. They had a couple CVEs for voting for the voting systems and voting machines. So once again, just check that out. Meta and Facebook revoked internships. I thought that was kind of mean of Meta. Long story short is they gave college kids internships, then revoked them. I guess they're on a big cost cutting binge. It was the kids in London, the London region, but still, you know, you could have bought an apartment or made some financial decisions because they had an internship. And I thought for a $1 billion company to revoke those internships, I thought was bad taste, bad form, and a little weak. But you know, so far it is. So what's up? We're going through the videos out this week. Then we're going to start in on the AWS RDS. Just giving time for a few people to file in. So I did one on Larry Ellison. That's one reason I decided to do the RDS Oracle. We talked about Larry Ellison during the week. You know, one of the original pioneers in Silicon Valley. Oracle has been a big time database for 30 years now. So did a little thing on him. I interviewed a project manager. I work with her. She's super good, super detailed. So I thought that interview went super well. So if you think about getting in a project management game, go check that video out. She actually put her LinkedIn information if you want to reach out to her. I'm trying to get her to get on YouTube to do some videos about project management, BA, business analyst type work. And it's once again a hidden gem to get in cybersecurity and IT is that project management. Yeah, especially if you get PMP certified, they make 6 figures. So I was talking about what I believe was the top 3 technology. I was actually in the YSN, so this is me being interviewed. So top 3 I think I had was cloud security, cloud, cybersecurity, and artificial intelligence, machine learning. Right, I stitched those 3 together. So I thought those were the top 3 to get into. But once again, a myriad of other ways, myriad of different things you can get into. About to start on the AWS, just going over some videos I talk. Alexis is always listening. Long story short, Alexa was listening. Female lady went in to look at our Alexa. Alexa records different conversations and keep them and send them so they can make sure Alexa's using natural language process. the lady heard somebody else in her house giving Alexa commands. So I was like, Alexa snitching on people. So shout out to Alexa. So a lot of people don't realize, even when you think it's off, Alexa's always listening, right? So about to get to the AWS in a quick second. So just going over some of the videos I did. So me too, what I thought was educational. And basically, I just said it depends on the person, your type of learning, and your budget, right? So you can do boot camps, colleges, certifications, community colleges, four-year colleges. There's a lot of ways to get knowledge and get into tech. So those were the videos I did this week. Just go check them out. Once again, if you got any questions, just put them in the box. Hope everybody had a great week. Mine was decent. I wouldn't say great. It was okay. So let's get at it. Everybody know on my AWS kick, and I done Oracle for 15 years before I got into cybersecurity. I was a Oracle DBA, Oracle programmer, PL SQL, Oracle Forms and Reports, and I went to Java connecting to an Oracle database when I worked at DoD. So I'm a big fan of Oracle. It's getting a little outdated. There's a lot more nimble, quicker databases, right? So once again, let's get into it. Got any questions? Just throw them in the chat. That's just the four quadrants. So Oracle's right there. That includes the cloud and the database. So they're actually in a niche player. Oracle's still real big in the government space, and a lot of enterprise applications are still winning itself out of Oracle and getting into the cloud at the same time, right? So Oracle's there, trying to get Oracle up there into the leaders category. So their market share was 16.5%. I think they were the eighth database totality. My SQL's up there because it's free, right? So you can have the market because you're free, but when you start talking about especially large clients, especially government clients and large state clients, Oracle probably going to be in the top three, right? When you start talking about large clients, and I like to work for large clients because they pay a little better, right? So I'm trying to get, as the kids say, the big bag. So I try to deal with large clients. So this is for my Larry Ellison one I did is Amazon was finally getting off a Oracle database. It finally got rid of its last Oracle database. It says Oracle was 17 years at Amazon. He has seen that his colleagues on engineering team is never content to leave good enough alone. They routinely evaluate internal systems to make sure it's scalable, efficient, and performant. So they believe Oracle was outdated and they were actually going to another database. But once again, it took Amazon a long time to get, because Oracle's a great database, right? It's wieldy, it's not very pliable. I wouldn't call it nimble, but you talking about rock solid. It's Oracle. So that's Amazon migrating out of all their Oracle databases. I think they had, there it is, 75 petabytes of data in Oracle, and they had 7,500 Oracle database instances, which I thought was a crazy number. But when you move as many products and got many services as Oracle, right? So their databases, then they put them on AWS purposely built databases. So depending on what type of service you need, what type of data you were dealing with, and what type of backend services, you might need a relational database, a document database, graph, key value, in memory, or data warehouse, right? So AWS, and we'll talk about, they have a plethora of databases depending on what you need. The cool thing though is I've done Oracle. Each one of these you can actually do on an Oracle database, right? Not as nimble, not as quick, but I've done graph in Oracle database. I put XML documents in Oracle database. I've done in memory, and I've definitely used it for data warehouse Oracle. So I've done all those. different purpose built inside Oracle, right? What they're saying is these more nimble, more cost effective, right? When you use AWS's databases for those particular specialized data. So once again, Amazon migrated 75 petabytes of internal data stored in nearly 7,500 Oracle databases to a multiple AWS database services. We were just looking at them: DynamoDB, Amazon Aurora, Amazon RDS, and Amazon Redshift. What's up, Helmet? Glad you could join me. Just talking about AWS and Oracle. Uh, the migrations was accomplished with little or no downtime, covered 100% of their proprietary information. They reduced their costs from over 60%, saving up to 90% from switching from Oracle to AWS. Performance improvements, they think they got 40% a latency improvement, and administrative overhead was down by 70%, right? Because they do give you a lot of automation, a lot of pre-built stuff that comes with Oracle, and it does make it a lot easier and quicker, right? So those things are definitely you would be upgrading it, but those shifts and upgrades are hard to do from Oracle to something else. That once again, that's why it took them so long. And shout out to AWS; they got some of the best engineers on the planet. So what do you get when you run your Oracle on Amazon? Amazon RDS is a fully managed commercial database that makes it easy to set up, operate, and scale Oracle deployments in the cloud. Amazon RDS frees up to focus on innovation and application development by managing time-consuming database administrative tasks, aka your DBA work, including provisioning, backing up, software patches, monitoring, and hardware scaling. You can run RDS for Oracle under two different license models. You can buy the license or bring your own. License include the service model. You do not need to separately purchase Oracle license. The Oracle database software has been licensed by AWS, right? So then you just getting a schema inside a larger database, which for most companies, 75% of your companies, I think, will be fine with that. Let's see what helmet. I'm over here in Azure. Shout out to Azure. I'm gonna get over there. I gotta get this AWS because shout out to Tim. We got to get our multi-cloud on helmet. So yeah, that's on my on my radar. So I'm trying to get the rest of these certs and get a little better AWS before I get over to the Azure. One of my clients, they actually do both. They do AWS and Azure. So I usually help them more with the Amazon side, but a lot of bigger companies are definitely on that multi-cloud. So definitely got to get to that. So you can take advantage of hourly pricing, no upfront fees, or long-term commitments. In addition, you can have an option to purchase reserve database instance for 1 or 3 years. With reserve DB instance, you can make a low one-time or upfront payment for each DB instance, then pay significantly discounted hourly rate, achieving up to 48%. So I probably get a small reserve instance because I'm hoping to lab. Then, like you said, save money. The ones I saw was up to 60% if you got a year reserve database instance. It looked like it was up to 60% savings. You could do all up front or partial, but I think a small one was like $400 or $500 for the whole year. So you can lab all the time and do what you need to do. So I thought that was definitely interesting. Yeah, Helmet, you're right. You got to get on that Azure, AWS, Google, Rackspace, even Oracle. Those are the big three. And I think Tam mentioned this, and I'm starting to see this. A lot of bigger companies are going to go multi-cloud, and you're just going to be cloud and services in different clouds. And I think you're going to start using their backend infrastructure. So even if you're in the Oracle cloud and both of those clouds in the Midwest region, you still be getting micro segment time as far as going between two cloud data centers, right? The speed of that. So I'm toying with, like I said, been getting my AWS cert. So I'll probably get the database cert. I still am a huge database proponent. I think a lot of people kind of forget about the database, don't give love to the database. So I probably get the Amazon database certified specialty. Credential helps organization identify and develop talent with critical skills for implementing cloud initiatives. Earning an AWS certified database specially validates your expertise in recommending, designing, and maintaining optimal AWS database solution, right? So just not Oracle, but their whole database portfolio, right? We just looked at some of those, right? Graph, Aurora, key value pair, relational, data warehousing with Redshift. I would say AWS probably have at least 20 databases, depending on what you need. Pick on. Shout out to my man, Engineering Cannabis. They have their Bitcoin like database, their ledger database, their quantum ledger. So you can do that type of work in there. So under the infrastructure. So there's just so many things you can do in AWS. Once again, the database specialty, you need 5 years experience with database technology, 2 years of hands-on experience and expertise with on-premise or cloud-based relational and node SQL database, ability to understand and differentiate the AWS database services, and ability to analyze needs and requirements to design and recommend the appropriate database solution. Right. So, like we said, and two is helping your company. You probably gonna have two or three, depending on what type of businesses you're doing. If you got custom development, like you might need Graph for this business or this division, or RDS or NoSQL, DynamoDB, Graph, Quantum, Neptune. Like once again, AWS has a ton of database services. So, yeah, I probably do one on that multi-cloud and talk about that in a little more depth. Helmet, talk about multi-cloud and connecting that, because one I showed just a piece of one. I think it was in my dev sec where somebody was actually using Azure because they were using Active Directory, so they were using AFDS. So they would go through uh, Azure, get authenticated and an authorization with their groups and stuff, get those tokens and come over to AWS with those tokens to see which services in AWS that their group or their company or division said they could get to, right? So you could use Azure because everybody's taking their Active Directory, putting in the cloud AFDS for authentication and authorization, uses that to use your login and password or however you want to do it with credentials, tokens. Bring those tokens back over to get access to AWS, right? Because you don't want to trying to keep authorization clean in both. Just use Azure for authorization. Then if you need any AWS services, you have those tokens come over. Then it'll give you access to whatever AWS services that you needed with the authentication in Azure, right? So shout out to that multi-cloud. So we probably walk through one of those in the future. So one of the quick questions the database service will help you. A company undergoes the security audit, has determined that the database administrator are presently sharing administrative database user accounts for the company, Amazon Aurora, to support proper traceability, governance, and compliance. Each database team member must start using individual named accounts. Furthermore, a long-term database user credentials should not be used. So you can authenticate your DB cluster using the AWS IAM database authentication. With this authentication method, you do not need to use a password. You can connect to a DB cluster, and instead you can use an authentication token that expires in 15 minutes after creation. So I can set up roles and rights for DBAs. When they need them, they can assume them, right? They already authenticated in AWS, so they know that those roles are for them to assume. And when they assume them to do their DBA work or their programming, they're good for, you can make them good for an hour, 4 hours, 15 minutes. They're just running a batch job. Usually I make them good for 4 hours. They do their work in a day, go to lunch, come back, assume those roles. So if somebody actually takes over their account, if that password is not good for 4 hours, and most people don't know how to assume roles in AWS unless you work in AWS, right? A hacker would only have low-level privileges. They couldn't get to the database or to the DBA work that privileged user could be able to use, right? So that's some of what you would do from a database specialty with security, then two with governance, right? Because that's what a lot of the governance are saying is people should only use authentication tokens for a short period of time to do elevated privilege work, right? If they're not doing their DBA work, they should be on their regular account doing their regular everyday stuff, right? Then when you need DBA work, you should use it for a short period of time. Then those privileges go away. If somebody gets access to that account or takes over the account, right, they only have low level privilege because they were only good for a certain amount of time. So just talking about getting that database certificate. So it was Amazon Award fully managed. You can set up your software patching, set up configurations backup, making it available and reliable. Using multi-IZ deployment, you can run mission critical workloads with high availability, built-in failover. You can make it easily to migrate from on-prem to in the clouds. You can go from Oracle to Oracle, Oracle to MySQL, Oracle to PostgreSQL. AWS has easily migration services you can do for that, right? And so that's when we talk about business and going to the future, how you're going to do that, right? And what does your company want to use for their really database of the future? That's the cool thing about Oracle. You got a lot of choices and a lot of options. So once again, easily managed and deployed. Database is designed for developers or business who require full features and capabilities of Oracle database, who wish to migrate existing application tools to utilize database. Since Amazon RDS for Oracle provides you with direct access to Oracle database software features in addition you have specified, then you get the pre-configured parameters. Oracle deployments are pre-configured with sensible set of parameters set in appropriate Oracle database edition. DB instance class you have selected. You can simply launch an Oracle database instance, connect your application within minutes without additional configurations. If you desire additional control, you can achieve it via DB parameter group, right? So there's a lot of different parameters inside Oracle. So you want to set it for Amazon's going to set it for 80% of what you need, right? Then you can go tweak the 80-20 rule, right? So that's the cool thing about it. So once again, you get your metrics. Amazon CloudWatch gives you metrics for database instant deployment with no additional charge. You can use AWS Management Console to view key operational things, including compute, memory, storage capacity, IO activity, DB connections. Then you get DB event notifications. You can use Amazon SNS via email or database instant deployment. You can subscribe to 40 database events associated with your RDS. So what does that mean actually? So if your database is low on memory, space, whatever, you get an email and hopefully ahead of time. So you won't have any downtime. A lot of that's pre-set up for you. If you're large corporation, you have an operational support team. So they set these up for really the support team, and the DBA is going to set that up right for them so they can be proactive and make sure your database don't go down. The software patching. Amazon RDS will make sure the Oracle database software prior to your deployment has the latest patches available within a reasonable period of time after the release. You can exert operational control when and if you want those DB instance patches and DB instance version management. So when a patch come out, even though they patch, you set up patch windows. So even though that patch version is out, you might want to test it in your QA and in your dev first before you roll it out, right? That's standard. So you'll roll those patches out to your development environment, let your developers and DBAs test those patches. Then QA, model office, then rolling in production when you're ready. A lot of companies like to go 30 or 60 days behind patches because every now and then Oracle puts out a patch and goes, oops, my bad. They need to roll the patch back, which could cause you to roll the patch back, right? So you want to make sure you give enough time to check those bugs out for you, then give Oracle enough time to make sure that nothing went wrong with those patches, right? And Oracle's real good about Microsoft's Patch Tuesday. Oracle's usually quarterly. They usually send out a ton of patches every quarter. Okay, this is a quarter release. Once again, we get get it in dev and test, and get those tested and make sure those software patches are good, right? So that's DBA, working with the cloud engineer, and once again getting that rolled out and tested, right? So. From a compliance standpoint, isolation and security, you can put your networking, so you can isolate your database instance in your own virtual network to connect to your existing IT infrastructure using industry standard encryption, IPsec VPN. You can use Amazon RDS. They got a user guide. You can configure your firewall settings to control network access to your database instance. You can use transparent data encryption and native network encryption at Oracle Advanced Security option for Oracle Database Enterprise Edition. So when you use Enterprise Edition, they give you, once again, most people know I do federal work and federal compliance. So when you use the Enterprise Edition, Oracle Advanced Security means when you save data, the blocks you save inside of Oracle, they're already encrypted. So if somebody would take those blocks and try to spin them back up without being in that database instance with the actual encryption key, they wouldn't be able to read those data blocks. Same thing too is exactly with those encryption, and if you're doing HIPAA, FERPA, any of those, they really want you to use the advanced security option. Of course, you pay a little more for that, but you, once again, you get the built-in encryption, and it's really easy to encrypt. Long story short, you encrypt the table space, you move your table to the other table space that encrypted. Then behind the scene, it's transparent. You know, your apps work the same, all your code works the same. You just need to move. This really, I think, is copy move table to this table space, then all that data gets encrypted. So that's one reason people like using Oracle. It's governed and approved encryption. It's been that way forever, right? Now, Oracle, once again, I did that little video on Larry Ellison, and he got that government money in the early 2000s. So he knows what those government clients need and want with that. So what is that? Oracle is actually an Oracle database. If you ever used Access SQL Server, it's actually just an enterprise database where you save data at PGO. So that's it. So if you have a container save data, if you ever use MySQL, Postgres, SQL Server from Microsoft, Oracle was the first enterprise version of that. So that's all it is a corporate database, an enterprise database. That's all it is, PGO. And I'm just talking about because Amazon, you can run on Amazon a lot cheaper and use all that setup. So now behind the scenes, we got Oracle primary database, same availability zone. You got a replica. So if this whole data center went out, you got a copy of that. This region, this could be the East region and the West region. So you can use Oracle Advanced Data Guard and just replicate your data on the other side of the United States. Why would you want every now and then, once every 2 years, a region to go out for Oracle database, right? So you would want, and two is if an earthquake happens or this site gets cybersecurity attack, your customers can automatically roll over to this site. No downtime. If you're Amazon, you can't afford downtime. An hour costs you a couple $100 million, right? So you won't automatically fail over, right, to the replica. So there's things to do. Okay, let's see. I'm studying for my Security Plus. This is probably too advanced for me. We can bring it down a little bit. Yeah, I don't think they talked about database at all. Good luck on your Security Plus. I got mine 15 years ago, PGO, so it's all good, man. If there's anything I could do, if you got any questions you want to talk about in that Security Plus, or you got any things you need clarified, just drop those in the box. If they're cybersecurity related or if they're security related, I can we could definitely chop those out. And I'm gonna drop the link in a little bit, PGO. So if you want to come up and ask any Security Plus questions, cybersecurity, or just any questions about the security game, I've been in it for about 15 years, man. So I'm seeking a mentorship. Well, we can talk about that. We can talk about that, PGO. We could definitely talk about. I think there's better people in the sphere than me, but we could definitely talk about that. Let's see, keep it rolling. From a database perspective, like PJ was talking about, you got tables with information in there. This is high level. It's called third normal form, mathematically approved. For y'all, I got a computer science degree in 1990, so and I programmed for 15 years. So you create your tables and your foreign keys, and Oracle takes this relationship, then they can tell with these IDs what's the best way to join your tables so you can get your information back quicker, right? Because when you do a select or you say basically, I want this dog food to order, behind the scenes, this tables joining and foreign keys and inserts, then data comes back to you. But behind the scenes, they're in tables like this, right? Till you get your data back. So mathematically it's called third normal form. So that's what's happening behind the scenes in Oracle. Then I just showed this right here. I should have made that a little bigger. It's called an explain plan. So when you do a select to get that information back, it gives you a cost, CPU usage. Are you using indexes or not? What's the size of them and what's the speed of them, right? That's advanced techniques in the background, right? Right. It's more operations than security. But one part of security everybody forgets is availability, right? If your data's down, we got to make some moves to help them, right? So a lot of times I'm helping the development teams with advanced database techniques. What you talking about with regions? Oh yeah. Everybody's got their regions helmet, regions, data center. They got data centers spread out around around the world. I think people got different terms. I know definitely AWS. They have regions and edge computing, CLACs. So yeah, regions. Region pair. Yep. Everybody's got their. What exactly do you need to renew your CompTIA cert? I have a couple CompTIA certs. Since I earned those certs, I've completed some 2 cybersecurity programs that are not degrees. That's cool. What do you do? Sometime depending on the CompTIA, like my Security Plus, I think I let lapse because I didn't get my continuing ed JM. I think I gotta retake them over. A lot of times though, when you get your other certs, those count as continuous eds to your old cert. So you just need to reach out to CompTIA, number one, to see if they're not expired and see if you could use those new certs because you got to get so many continuous education. I'm calling them points, JM, but I don't know if that's the proper term for them. Can I use continuous ed? I'll just say that. Yep, you can do that. My bad. I didn't read for. Yeah, I think you can. You just need to reach out to them. My Security Plus is so old, so I probably start studying and take that one over. Then really, I'm 2023. My goal is to get the CISP. So, um, so I'm gonna get a couple more cloud certs. Then I'm gonna start on my get my Security Plus renewed, JM. Then I'm gonna start working on the CISP with Savage Scientist. I think we're gonna collab on the CISP. He was reaching out to me for that. So once again, this is an explain plan, more operational. Once again, to availability of your data to make sure it's coming back in a timely manner. And hopefully this too helps your cost goes down. When you got optimized database, it gives the data back quicker. Anything takes longer on AWS, you get charged for it, right? You get charged for time, and there's database credits for CPU time and data moves. So if you go over that particular baseline, because you got sloppy database and sloppy SQL, it actually costs you more money in the end. So make sure we tighten, we rolling on there. Then part of the DevSecOps, we talked about Elastic Beanstalk, and when you take your stuff to the code pipeline, in the end, your data gets put in RDS, right? We're talking about Oracle. I did one on DynamoDB, whatever that RDS is, that's where your data ends up in the end, right? So we want to make sure we understand what that is from a operation, especially from a security perspective, because really, that's really what the hacker's trying to get to, right? They going through your infrastructure, going through your build and your supply chain. Really though, all your social security numbers, HIPAA stuff, data. 90% of that stored in a database somewhere. Now that database could be a container S3 bucket, but most likely it's in Oracle, SQL Server, MySQL, Postgres. One of those are going to be in a relational database, right? So that's what really the hacker's trying to get to is there, right? Once again, if you look at the bottom, that's where your database is. So these are some of the standard infrastructure. So shout out to Helmet. So I'm sure Azure has their version of public subnet, private subnet, auto scaling group, what's encrypted, right? Deploying EC2s to get to your Oracle RDS, encryption and database, right? But in the end, once again, at the bottom, let me get that verbiage from it's all saved in the database, right? Let's say MySQL, but you can put Oracle there, whatever you want, whatever's hot, right? So once again, when you come in from here, the bad guy's trying to get down here to get to your information, right? To steal it. Connecting to your SQL database or Oracle database with credentials, right? You don't want to keep your credentials hard coded that you're using in the database. You want to store it in SQL Manager. You can use OpenSSL to encrypt it on the file system, then decrypt it, right? I actually like saving it into Secrets Manager for there, right? Environment properties, including database username and passwords, are visible and stored in plain text and environment properties in Elastic Beanstalk or Apache Tomcat or Nginx, whatever you're using, right? So you just want to save those secrets in Oracle. Each driver wraps the JDBC driver so you can use JDBC calls to access your database. However, instead of the password, username, and password for the connection, you provide the ID secret. The driver calls the secret manager to retrieve the secret values and then uses credentials and the secret to connect to the database. Right. One of the first things, salute to before the billions, right? So when you talk about databases and connecting to database and really connecting to app servers, most of the times if you're using Apache Tomcat IIS, a lot of those passwords are stored and cleared. So you want to get in a secret manager or some secret vault, right? So you can pull those credentials off without keep saving them in the clear. Because that's the first thing I tell people to hack, right? If you hack the web server, the username and password going to be in the clear. If you can get to that, then you can just log in the database with high privilege accounts and just steal the data, right? So that's one thing we want to not do, right? So we'll see what my man. So yeah, so that's part of the database is how do you protect it? Once again, I highlighted Oracle, but that's really when the web server's connecting to anything. How do you keep it safe? Right, so after you set up your RDS using Elastic Beanstalk or once again Apache or Apache Tomcat if you're using Java, you can go into the console, create your database. You get a security group with a CIDR blocking the IP for your inbound traffic. What traffic do you want to get on outbound traffic? As a security best practice, you should allow traffic to your RDS database only from your instances, which is your web server you asked for. Therefore, make sure your group allow traffic only from the auto scaling security group, and it has no additional entries. Right. So that's for the application, but shout out to Before the Billion. See, engineer, he might need to get to that server and do some work, right? So to be able to get to that server, you gotta do a Bastion's host, or if B2B's VPN ending, he's got to be able to get to those servers and work. So you got to be able to get to that VPN IP to let them get to that server and be able to do work. But that's only for high privileged users, not a lot of them, right? So a lot of times what we want to do if you got reserved IP or static IPs, whatever IPs on your laptop they're using to work, those are the only IPs we want to let VPN in. Then those IPs from VPN can only get to the back infrastructure, which could be your relational data stores or your web servers and your app servers, right? So only certain workstations and certain subnets And of course, we're making sure those people MFA into those subnets, right? Two, we don't want to follow Uber, that's stuffy. Just because somebody keeps sending you a request for MFA doesn't mean it's them, right? So we just want to make sure we got those checks in, and we make sure we lock those accounts out if somebody keeps trying to shoot up a million of those settings. Is the database the responsibility of the developer or the IT team, Professor? That's a good question. It depends on the organization. A lot of people have DevOps, which is part of the IT team. I'm old school. We had a separate DBA team, right, that actually worked with the developer team, but they were separate. Now they have DevOps, and that's actually part of the development team, and they actually handle the database. I'll let B2B, can you chime in on how y'all do it? I don't know if he's still there. He be going live a lot. So I've seen it both ways. I work for old school, so they usually have their own DBA team. So the developers got to work with the DBA team. A lot of the newer teams, they have DevOps, so they actually a few of their developers actually manage the actual database too. So depends on the agility and the maturity of your organization here. How y'all do it? How do y'all handle the database where you work at? If you can't talk about it, just say pass before the billions. Is your DevOps handling the database, or do y'all have a DBA team before the billions? I'm gonna drop the if y'all bored, y'all could come up. so so how y'all handle it? Or you can come up and talk about it, or you can put in the chat, or you can pass before the biz. I know sometimes people don't want to talk about that, but yeah, so yeah, I've seen DBA team JM or DevOps is the new way. More agile teams handle their development. For my teams though, when you do DevOps, I think they lose a lot of the specialization of certain databases. Now I think people just say database, and you do a MySQL, Oracle, everything I got listed, but each one of those have certain nuances that you can do for that certain database with that certain talent. What's up, B2B?
Hey, Professor Blackhouse, how you doing, man?
I'm doing all right, man. Went on a Sunday, man. Old people in the house, man. How y'all handling database on y'all team? Y'all DevOps in it? Y'all got a separate DBA team, or?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. You going out a little bit, but you're solid now.
So the way we handle it is, I'm the data engineer, so pretty much maintain the database. I build the pipelines, and who work on the UI and the API. That's our platform. I have to do all of the pretty much my team does all the maintenance on all of our databases.
Okay.
Or yeah, that's pretty much how it goes. They have to go through us in order for any changes to be, whether it's a NoSQL database or whether it's our cloud.
Okay. Those are different skill sets. So do your team actually patch it, or y'all just kind of handle the pipeline and getting the data ready, indexes, and make sure the SQL's right? Do you actually patch it and care and feed it? Part of that? Do y'all do all that, or do y'all just do the getting it ready, getting the data uploaded, getting it migrated to what it should look like so your end users can use it? Do you actually patch it and do the security setup of the database too?
I don't specifically work on the security portion of it, or I'm patching it. He does that, so he takes care of that portion. But I do the data pipelines and the migration of code in order to.
Oh, who came? Oh, Alan. What's up, Alan? Oh, hold on, Alan. Let me click you over. I'm Slack. What's up, Alan? My fault, man.
Hey.
Alan, you there? Alan, I don't know if it's me or you. I'm not hearing you, Alan. Say that. You might have to drop down and come back up, Alan. I don't know if you having technical difficulty. So BDB, I'm gonna come back to you. So is that a specialized skill, that database care and feeding?
Well, I would say yes, and we it's not like we do it all on our own. We do work with our cyber for that, and we also work with it depends on we have our Google Cloud, BigQuery data warehouse with Google on things like that. We do have other databases, our NoSQL databases. We have to work with those particular other relational databases as well that are on premise. I don't know if I can give you the name of them, but
no, don't do that. 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 I've been in this game a long time. Let that go. Go ahead.
I was like, yeah, we work with those particular companies.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, I understand. That's why I was telling be careful. But two is, like I said, older clients. The two is that a big leap for you when you go on-prem, cloud, and you got to sync all that together? You got pipelines, I guess, meshing something together. Does that add a lot of, I guess, performance issues, a lot of complexities, or you just think it's just part of the being with a larger company and you're going to have some on-prem, some in the cloud, some in different clouds, multi-cloud with the on-prem? You just think that's the future, the mix of that?
Yeah, it is quite the headache, I'll say. Having to
Facts.
go from on-premise to the cloud and then to a non-SQL, figure out if other teams are also then working with it. And then between the data, you have to work with whoever loaded that data to the database. Now we got to work with why, and sometimes some of our jobs don't even pull in all the data to figure out, okay, why is it not pulling in the recent update to newly created records?
Oh, I've
So
been
those
there
are
before. That could
always
no, go ahead, B2B. Yeah, I've been there before. Keep going, man. I've been there before.
issues that come up with having like all the put together. But I guess it does help the fact that we will have multiple different locations. So I guess that's a good thing.
That's more of a headache, though. Now you got locations, different databases, like you said, getting them synced, getting them staged, getting your data lakes right, and uh, like you said, that's data warehouse and data pipeline, and like you said, getting it clean and make sure it's good, and working with the people who got the data. And now, like you said, you got on-prem, off-prem, multi-cloud. All right, so.
Yep, and then there's multiple multi. That's what the more interesting part about it is, like, you have to understand databases and their languages, because it's not all it's SQL, but it's not.
Everybody's got their own version of SQL that they made. It's not straight ANSI. Everybody's got their little, because they want their specialized speed, using certain indexes, using certain techniques, using memory databases. So now you write all that together. You got to make sure you get those skills together, right, and into the future.
Yeah, it can be kind of dealing with other teams, because you'll have a team that will have this new feature that needs to come in, and then you're like, okay, well, you're muses, so now you need to work with them on getting it together, and huge headache.
Yeah, and two is everybody think their data is the most important, depending on each teams. So
yeah, but nothing happens without us. Like, we use
facts, but
okay.
No, keep going.
Yeah, we use there's a new feature that's being introduced. It almost always has to come from us, be available and usable as well. That's another thing. Sometimes forget is that you can have data that will be like, okay, well, such and such PII data.
Right.
And you're like, okay, well, some people, but it's not available for all. Is this going to be needed in order to be able to make this feature work? You know, sometimes you get in there and there's a new feature that you need to make, get something done, but you need to do an analysis to see where the data is coming from and what team is loading it to make sure the frequency at which they want to update things is appropriate. So you'll have data that anybody who, let's say, for example, applies for a job through a job board. Well, when they apply, they're supposed to have like, okay, this is where they came from. You know, their location is where they came in from the pipeline. You need to have a separate team to let you know when. But if their frequency is off, then it won't be displayed for whatever data until the other team's frequency for their job through.
No, that's true. You gotta, like you say, part of staging, getting them in sync, make sure the frequency right. Like you said, especially if two different teams are bringing that data, and you gotta bring it together and correlate it, right? Like you said, now you gotta make sure the frequency they put it in, and the other team right now you got null spot, blank spot.
Oh yeah.
Then it won't go through the pipeline, depending on if that data was required or not. So.
Yes, sir. But yeah, that's pretty much all I had on. Any other questions or anything?
No, that was it. I was just trying to say it. Like you said, I know you do. I've done that like 15 years ago. You doing it now, so it's a little different. The cool thing is that I'm gonna show that is security is gonna mark PII data. So when you bring it through the pipeline and pull it up on the dashboard, if you don't have the security requirements to see it, it's gonna show stars. And if you have the security requirements, then it shows it, right? So you can tag data as it go through the pipeline. So we were talking about doing that. Because like you said, does that person needs to know it? Does that group needs to see it? And does this division, even though they can see it, are they supposed to see it, right? So trying to tag data, then letting whatever security roles they have tells if they should be able to see that data or not, right? So
exactly. Yeah. And then that's another thing is you got to make sure that it on accident.
Right. That's why we're trying to tag it. So that way, depending on what your job function of your job, that tells you if you can see it or not. So it's not any accidents, right? Because if somebody messed up code or not supposed to, even if you tag it, even as a privileged user in the pipeline, if you're not supposed to see it, it'll make it stars. You can move it through the pipeline or roll it up and correlate it, but you still can't see it. But then on the other side, it's like, dude, I need to be able to see it to correlate it, right? So there's some issues with it doing that too.
Yeah, man. You can't have it as plain text. That's enough.
Right. And that's what we're going to talk about here. But that's one thing too. Now that's all I need to be. You can stay up or drop down and come back up. Let me know.
So all right. Then see you later, man. About to finish cooking.
I'm sure. All right, thanks for having me, man. I'm sure I'll be on your channel. Go drop your channel in there. B2B, drop your Black Man channel in there. You got a wrench. Go support my man. He's starting a new channel. Go check him out. My man, Alan comes up. Let's see if we can hear him this time. I think I'm struggle streaming. What's going on, Alan?
Can you hear me now?
I can. I think that was me, man. I'm struggle streaming. I can hear you, man. I'm bumping up your volume on my end a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, how you doing, man? How's that?
All right, I had a couple of questions.
Yeah, go ahead. What can I do for you,
man? I'm all the way in the beginning stages, so I'll just have some questions.
Yeah, what can I do for you? That's what this channel's for, man.
Okay, in the beginning, what certs are going to make you more employable? The A+, or do I need all three?
I would do all three because they stack on top of each other, really. A+ gonna help you with Network Plus. If you don't understand the foundation, it's hard to do networking, right? Then the network is security needs networking because the first thing you do is control your traffic, control your getting onto the box, and that really controls your networking. So they stack really on top of each other. So if you're brand new and you don't really have if you got some IT background, I would just go Network Plus, Security Plus. if you don't really have fundamentals, I call it a trifecta. I would do all three. Unless it's a financial burden. They don't cost a ton of money. Shout out to Tech G. I think he's charges like $10 a month for the back end of study. I don't know what study materials, but I would do all three, to be honest, because they stack on top of each other. To be honest, the security is going to make you the most money, but you need the first two to really, understand, because you need fundamentals. That gives you the fundamentals to move into security. You need to understand all that stuff before you get into security.
Okay, I've studied the A+ and some Network Plus, but I haven't got the certifications yet, just to make myself more powerful and well-rounded.
Yeah. Two is, if you got the foundation, I would just probably get the Security Plus. Two is, since you're just starting out, a lot of times, a lot of people want you to have a couple years under your belt before you get into security. So a lot of people start with the network foundation, network admin, get those fundamentals, then move in security, because it's a little easier to get in the networking game. Number one is they have 3 shifts usually on networking. Network is usually one of the biggest teams besides help desk is networking, because if you are even a medium-sized company, network is 24/7. If the network goes down, can't nobody work. So a lot of people usually jump into the game with networking. Then after they get a couple months or a couple years, then they move into security.
Okay. I have another question.
Yeah.
If you have a flawed background, should I get my record seal expunged? Because I'm ex-military. When I got out of jail, I was kind of lost, didn't know what I was doing. I had heart surgery, so I was non-deployable, so I just left the military once ETS. So I ended up getting a pimping and pandering charge. So I'm like, I don't know if I get my record sealed first or if I can if I'm still employable.
Was any of that violent at all, or was it just pimping and pandering? You always try to get your record seals and expunged. I don't think those two would. Is that a felony or is that a misdemeanor? If I ask you a question, you want if I ask you a question, you want to just say pass. I just want to give you that respect, right? If I ask you something, you don't want to just say pass, man. So the problem is all IT gets close to the money. So a lot of times if you got a felony, it's hard to get employed in IT, especially in security. I'm around $10 million constantly, right? Because I get to see bank files and all kind of stuff, right? So especially I'm on a federal space, which is a little different, right? So federal space, you got to do an FBI background check.
Okay.
I will reach out. Are you on Tech G's channel at all?
No, I'm not.
Reach out to he's a cool guy. Tech G's. Those guys are ex-military, so I think they can give you a little better insight into the military than I can. I work at military bases, but they were actually in the military, so they know kind of what those charges with the military background and how you can move. I think Tech G, Master IT's ex-military, and Keep It Techie. So I will reach out to those 3 guys and probably get a little more input. Like I said, I work on big federal sites. Say that again.
Is this link in the chat? Did somebody put the link for Tech G in the chat?
No, I'll put them in the chat before it's over. I'll put those 3 guys in there. And I think both of them, if you go to their about page, they both have emails. Just say PBO sent me. That's me. So I'll drop both of their chats. But okay, I think Helmet, Helmet, do me a favor, put Tech G's link in there for me, Helmet. I think Helmet's Helmet. Helmet, can you do that for me? Helmet to take care. He put Tech G in there. He definitely military. Helmet, no, Tech G crazy. He got a military, bro. He probably the craziest of all. But those guys can probably help you maneuver that military, and maybe there's documents to help you get it expunged, and really how that works. He just
my lawyer said $4K, give him $4,000, he'll get everything off. He said I never went to prison, so I'm good.
Okay, I would check with those guys though to double check. Man, sometimes I got an attorney. Sometimes they take stuff to get money. I believe your attorney. I would just reach out to those guys and just get an opinion.
Well, yeah, I I didn't do no prison time and like that. I actually ended up beating the case. I just had to take some type of time because they wouldn't let me walk away.
Oh, facts. That's Tech G's channel. Helmet, can you put Keep It Techie's channel in there too for me? So reach out to those because both of those guys, I think Tech G was in for 8. I want to say Keep It Techie was in like 10. So yeah, reach out to those guys and they'll give you some input on all of that. So I want to make sure you have as much information as possible on that.
Thank you, appreciate it.
You're welcome. You need anything? What else you got for me, man?
That was basically. I'm on my second interview or third interview now with a company in Santa Fe Springs in California. So I'm just waiting to hear back from. They said I meet with the VP of Human Resources, and then they'll let me know exactly what if I got on this third interview.
Okay, good luck. Like I said, if you got any more questions, you can always reach out to me, ProfessorBlackOps@gmail.com. You can always go to my channel, my about page, my email's in there. So if you got any other questions later on, you just want to shoot me an email and we can get on and chop it up, or just a question, you can always shoot me an email.
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna send you an email, get some mentorship and some insight on how to exactly navigate,
Right. Those 3 channels too is this is more than one way to do it, right? So I'm gonna give you my input. So I want you to get as much input as you can, so you can make the proper move that's best for you. So,
all right, appreciate it, man.
Yeah, thanks. Reach out if you need anything else, man.
All right,
all right, all good. Let's see, JM. You can attend coding boot camps for right now if you're ex-military with vet. Shout out to you. Yep, boot camps is hitting. I love coding. A lot of people hate coding, JM. I love coding, but yeah, if you and any kind of boot camps, that could be networking boot camp, AWS boot camps, Azure boot camps. There's just so many different types of boot camps. I keep forgetting about that, JM. I just think of coding, but yeah, shout out to him. I don't know if he's was standing, if he can still use his GI Bill for those type of boot camps, and I'm sure Keep It Techie and Tech G will have some input on those type of boot camps, for your GI Bill. We were actually talking about that. So from a compliance standpoint, FedRAMP just means you can do government workloads on there, DoD workloads. We were talking about the electric grid, right? Those are certain government workloads. So they want you to be in certain, they call it a FedRAMP cloud, right? And security FedRAMP high. So Oracle databases on the government high, government moderate, and FedRAMP approved. So basically meaning you can do large government work, and once again, you're approved to do it. It's called ATO, authority to operate. So you could use Oracle database, really any of their databases, to do government work and government workloads. I do security analyst, so I do compliance. So my job is to make sure is what a company is using can be used for government work, right? And it could be high government work or moderate government work. So you need to make sure the AWS service you're using is approved to do that type of level of work, right? Plus Salesforce, Salesforce is great. I'm gonna interview a Salesforce guy. I'm cool with one of the Salesforce sales engineers. So I'm gonna interview him on our channel, on this channel. So shout out to Keep It Techie. Yeah, I forgot that is true. Oh, I didn't know Dewan Lightfoot was ex-military. Shout out to him. Yeah, he's on AWS. I got to do another AWS interview in about a year or so. See if I can get some of that AWS restricted stock they were giving out. So yeah, shout out to Tech G. Okay, yeah. You can always check with him. Lab every day. Shout out to him. Yeah, check on that and reach out. Keep It Tech and Tech G can actually give you a lot of insight on that too. PG on your GI Bill, because they were using theirs for boot camps and IT work. It used to be for college. Now they're letting people do boot camps and stuff with it. So I think they can put some input on that for you. And once again, everybody know I do federal compliance, and part of that is hardening your database, even though it's an AWS, right? It's a shared responsibility. So if you look, Oracle 12c has 142 hardening checks, right? We want to make sure we're not going to get our database hacked. Shout out to my man, Gabe. He doesn't like the sticks. Shout out to him. I'm sure he come up, but I'm a stick guy. So these are some of the security checks, right? We got 21 highs, 119 mediums, and a couple lows. So we want to make sure. So you got Department of Defense and NIST, right? Those are security compliance. We don't want a foreign nation hacking us, right? So when you talk about security in databases, what hardening can we do to a database to make sure it's locked down? Just subscribe to both those channels. You're welcome, man. Just subscribe to. So here's the checks. These are some of the highs. DBS must be required to cryptography. Fancy word to say we're using encryption. Make sure your Oracle, you're on a supported version. That's one of the big things with open source. You got to have support, because if a security patch needs to happen or some security fix needs to be happening, you got to get paid support to be able to get that. Right. So the DBS software installation should be only used by restricted and authorized users. If you do SQL Plus from the command line, it actually shows the password. So you got to encrypt it before you actually put it in there. So PKI, only the DoD uses PKI. So if I'm at a commercial, I would just say NA for that check. So let's dig into one. DBS must implement required cryptographic protections using cryptographic modules, complying with applicable federal laws, executive orders, directive policies, regulations, standards, and guidance. Right. So, a long story short, you have to be using encryption, SSL. And if you see down there, there's that I should have highlighted right there. That link lets you know if that encryption you're using has been validated by the government, right? Somebody could say they're using AES 256, but if they programmed itself, did they do it right? So the government wants to sign off on the encryption you use to make sure they did it right and it's approved by them. A lot of people say they want to see it so they can hack it and break it too, right? So I don't know about all that, but they do want to validate it to make sure it's used and it's properly done, because we don't want to get hooked by a foreign nation. Then the SQL Plus, which can accept plain text password. You must use an alternative login method that's not exposed to password. So we're blocking SQL Plus, right? So it tells you the vulnerability. See, that's a high right there. So long story short, when you go through and do an assessment / insurance, you cannot have any open highs, right? So all these got to be fixed. I think it was 21 there. It wasn't a ton of them, right? It's usually a bell curve. Few highs, a whole bunch of moderates or twos, and a few threes. So whatever highs you got to make sure you get those closed, right? Someone said if they would start over, it would be cloud coding, machine learning, security. What would you do? If I would start over, I think I would kind of do it the way I love coding. I probably would code, cloud, security, then machine learning. Because coding for me is kind of like networking. If I'm gonna do network or code, because that's gonna be the basis of everything. Most attacks are done on web application, and part of that is where your coding sits at. So when you code, you get to touch everything. Like B2B said, you were gonna when you code, I gotta connect it to a database, I gotta put a web server, I gotta talk about data, the security of the data, how you move it, and all that's really the basis of security, right? So coding, because coding is gonna help you touch everything, put it in the cloud, right? Once I get in the cloud, make sure I understand the security of each one of those layers, right? Networking, infrastructure, red team, attacking, blue team, defending, which I know all those parts from coding, right? Purple team, I develop apps, right? So that's purple team. Then, like security, then after all of that is add machine learning and artificial intelligence to security, right? Because a lot of that stuff, when you scan and watch your logs, all that's machine learning. So that's the stack I would do. I would go coding, because I love the code. Put it in the cloud, then securing it, right? Because then you're a security engineer, right? So if I can work with B2B, all right? He does it more than me now, but I've done it, so we could talk like we were doing. I know what a data pipeline is. I know database. I know data lake, right? I know what a data warehouse is. I know what an operations store is. So from a security perspective, I know each one of those layers. So that's what I would do. And two is, we talked about it. Shout out to Women in Linux. Your skills stack, right? As you use them, they don't go away. You just add to them, right? So once again, though, this was just a security check for Oracle database, right? Even though it's in the cloud, we still got to make sure we're doing these security checks to make sure if Amazon's responsible for they're doing them. If I'm responsible for, I'm doing them, right? But I got to make sure both of those are getting done. And two is, let me show this at the let's see what Hamilton. This is one of the checks. Once again, this was an encryption in there, and we're going to kind of take it back from the NIST, right? We looked at the check. Now we're about to look at the security family that checks belong to, and at the top, the NIST check for the security family, so we can see how it rolls up from a compliance to implementation in a database, right? So how does it actually rolls up? And two, what this is called, and a lot of people don't know, is you need an authority to operate. So I got to make sure this check is for this security right there. So it says NIST 800 IA7, right? Then that IA7 has a policy and procedure that goes to the compliance people, right? To say we're secure and this system's able to operate and do this level of work for this level of security. So, and we're gonna look at that. Let's see what my man said. Helmet. By the way, the piece you shared on visual auto learning was on spot. I think some people are a bit above. I appreciate that. Yeah, too, is I think people need to understand that. Young guy too, super smart, getting his PhD on that. So I just wanted to send that out because I think a lot of people over what boot camp are you using? What are you using to learn, right? I know how I learn best. What works for me might not work for you, right? I'm a repetitive test guy. I like to see examples in architecture. Then I like to build architecture to learn what, it's what you test on is theoretical, right? Then two is the theoretical is going to take me to those labs, and those labs are going to take me to projects, right? So now I'm putting my hands on and doing that type of right. So I learn best in that order, right? So do you make your developers write one statement or function per line, or are they free to write in any style they want? That's a B2B question, JM. As when I had a development team, we kind of had a template for what form it should look like, meaning how we want you to capitalize, how long we want to be your function and procedures. But after that, we kind of had two is we kind of have corporate functions we want you to call, because we don't want you to create everything from scratch, JM. So when you were doing a database call, we gave you an API. As a developer, if you need to connect to this table, don't write selects, just call this API and it's going to bring the data back you need, right? So then now we all into a coding style, a functional style. Two is you don't want everybody to write their own style, Jam, because if B2B gets hit by a car, I need somebody to take over his work and they won't have to relearn it, right? So if we all kind of doing the same style and the same format, you can take over other people's code, right? Because you need standard operating system and standard procedures. So we don't want you to get too freestyle with it, Jam, because somebody needs to come in and be able to pick their code up. Then when we train new people, right, they'll be, this is what you need to call to do this. Now, if somebody wrote a different select, or somebody wrote an API, or somebody's doing in memory, if somebody's doing something different for the same thing, JM, we'll have a problem. So we need some standards in there. So let me know if that makes sense, Jam. I'll be rambling sometimes. So now you got to follow the corporate style and the corporate matrix for that. And two is after a while is you should be calling standard APIs and modules that's doing that standard work for you, right? So then what's needed to do something different or something new we're doing, that should be very small code. The rest of that should be standard procedures, standard API, and standard calls we're making, right? That way anybody can step in and take over that code. So then if you look at the bottom, we got the NIST 800 family for that particular check. And here, that's that AI7, which is identification and authorization, right? That's the NIST part. So from compliance, when I say this is the policy and procedure, right there, that AI identification authorization, remember with 7, this is 7, the cryptographical modules, implementation mechanics for authentication for that module, right? So let's go back. This is the security family. This is the subfamily, right? AI-family is the subfamily. So that particular database check rolls up to this particular subfamily that rolls up into this particular family. So when we do all those policies and procedures, all those standard operating system and our procedures, and we give that over to ATO, the authority to operate, so somebody to validate our system, or Booz Allen's going to come and check our system. This is the paperwork we need when they say, well, how are you encrypting? We're doing this policy and procedure, this subfamily, going back to this security check on this Oracle database, right? So this is our paperwork to say we are valid and we are able to do that type of workload. So let's see. So yep, I gave that to him. I've definitely subbed him. I've always been interested in way human by. He's a young brother coming up, man. So I try to set some people as well. I'll probably bring him on the show, man. You want him on the show, Helmet? Let me know, man. Udemy right now, but I've been looking in the Springboard bootcamp. Oh yeah, Udemy is a great way to start to figure out if you like some PGO. I would do that because it's non-expensive to get in there. There's some good people over there, so you can learn before I spend money on a boot camp. And a lot of those people give you a little taste of Udemy before they give you the boot camp. So PGO, that's definitely the right move. I'm actually in a couple of small classes. Udemy, good resource. You find Angela. Yep. Facts. What is up? Glad you can make it, Miss Created. These are good resources. Not fine. Let's see, JM. I was asking because JavaScript can accomplish the same thing in multiple ways. Oh, that is true. But two is if JavaScript is not the language we're using at our company, JM. You're right. But once again, you gotta make sure you create the using the right tool for the right job. And two is some of that too is even if you're great at JavaScript, if we got 20 other people and they don't know JavaScript and they're more comfortable with Java, but you're right, Java's going to be a few more lines. You got to bring in a few more methods, right? You got to import a few more modules. But if that's what our team is using, right, JM? So, but no, you're right. But two is we got to make sure what we're using is what's used by that company. And a lot of times we don't have anything about bringing in something new, but then we got to make sure the rest of the people are trained and this is the language we're using and we understand the nuances of those languages. A lot of times you can use JavaScript, Java, PHP, but do you understand how to secure the security of that language? Do you know the performance of that language? If we spin up 1,000,000 rows through that language, what's going to happen, right? So that's too is why as a corporation, we want to say, these are our tools, this is our language, and this is our APIs and methods to do certain things. That way we can learn this. Okay, I see if he's available. Okay, I see. I'll reach out to him. Let me know if that makes sense, Jam. Teacher gave me a nephew something wrong because he didn't exactly how the teacher wanted. The teacher gave my nephew some wrong because he didn't do exactly how I teach. Yeah, that's crazy. And I talked to, I'm real flexible. I taught for years is if you gave me an answer and we talked about it a certain way, if you did it a different way and you got the correct answer, right now I might not give you an A+, but I'm definitely not giving you a C, right? So there's something we can actually, chop it up and talk about. But and two is I think I got to word this right. I think the school is trying to get you thinking a certain way so you can get into the corporate matrix, right? I like to teach people to think out the box and think differently, right? But two is, and I get in trouble at work sometimes. Sometimes when you get in corporations, they want you to stay in the box, right, with the hammer and hit it a certain way. I'm like, dude, I just created this, better screwdriver, right? So there's pluses and minuses to that, but definitely from a school's perspective, uh, I think you should be thinking out the box and thinking different ways, right? So let's see. Boom, boom. We talked about that. That's all I had. Once again, there's the database. Everybody know I'm on my AWS kick. There's the AWS database specialty. Very few people get it because a lot of people database doesn't get much love. So I think that's the I'm studying for the SysOps. Then I'm gonna try to take the professional architect. That's super hard. I've been studying a little bit for the professional AWS architect. Woo. that was super hard. So I've been like studying once again. So I think I'm gonna go SysOps. I think I'm gonna go associate professional, database specialty, then DevOps professional in AWS. I think that's what I'm looking for. See what my man Helmut said. In fact, some people feel threatened if you straight up. Yeah, they do. They do. I like people to think out the box too. And two is, if you can the thing I tell people too is, you just have to explain to me how you did it, right? And walk me through the steps, right? And if you got the right answer, I like, oh, and two is, sometimes you always need to explore stuff, right? There's better techniques and better ways, right? So there's certain things as a team we had special projects. It's okay, this is something new that came out, and two is products are telling you that this is better, this is a new improved technique, this is a new improved procedural module we want you to use to do that, right? So now we got to make sure that works for us and it scales for us. Then we got to migrate all our stuff over to the new, right, to make sure you understand it. We got something going crazy, man. I think the only verse is trying to get us, man. I'm about to block them. Block these users, man. They trying to get us. So, but yeah, that's Russia trying to get us, man. So yeah, so I think you always want to learn. There's always new techniques, new things coming out. So everything's always happening. But once again, you want to stay learning. Even at my age, I'll be 55 next year. Woo! Time's going. I'm learning. I'm trying. I got to get on my AWS. I joke, but I'm serious. I got 10 years before I retire. So what's going to give me a 10-year bag? What's hot? It's the cloud. I'm going to add security with the cloud. I'm going to hopefully be super certified, get the the CISP I should have got 15 years ago. I was lacking, but no, I'll make sure I get those because you got to stay current. Pluses and minuses about IT. The good and bad is you can make a bag. You can make a bag and eat well. The bad thing about it is you got to constantly learn. If you miss a segment, you might be not making a bag real quick, right? Because I was joking with my buddy. I knew a BlackBerry programmer used to make $150,000. Those dudes don't exist anymore, right? So you just got to stay on it. So my training days online, we give you free. Yep, check it out. Me and Helmut, I was chatting before you got here. AWS, Azure, Google, shout out Oracle Cloud. I think Salesforce is up there. There's probably 4 or 5 clouds. You need to master. We was talking about that. You once you get at a certain level, you got to master the multi-cloud, right? A lot of people go on multi-cloud. Some of my clients I work to are already doing multi-cloud stuff. And we're going to start talking about multi-cloud and do a couple labs on that. You got to be there, right? But we always talk about fundamentals is, shout out to Tim, pick a cloud and go with it. So I picked AWS. JM is on Azure. I'm not gonna be like, oh, that's the wrong cloud. Microsoft is $1 billion company, man. They got, I think Oracle had, I think AWS had 38, 41, and Azure was right behind them, I think with 31 or 28. So it wasn't like they were, they both had a big slice and you can eat well on both of those. and I'm gonna talk about this. Me and my community job, I taught at a community college for a while. I no longer work there, so I'm thinking about teaching again. I think I'm gonna teach on YouTube and actually do a course, set up labs, set up tests. So I'm actually gonna do a Java security DevSecOps course, where you do light coding, but then you check it into the pipeline and you secure the pipeline, right? So the time you checking in, part of that is the build, part of that is the test, and part of that is the deploy part of the pipeline where we put into the database, right? We deploy the code. So some of it's back-end code that goes in the database, some of it goes into the web server, some of it goes into the app server. What does that look like for my full deployment, and how do you secure it? So I think that's what I'm gonna end up teaching online, JM, as a full course. I might try to get out. Shout out to Keep It Techie and Kev Tech. They actually got full Udemy courses. Make it a Udemy course. Once again, super low cost. So that's what I'm thinking about. I got to make it first, PGO. I'm doing a lot of talking. But yeah, I taught for a decade. I taught, I'm actually Security Plus. I taught at a large community college with 30,000 students. I taught Intro to Computer Security, Intro to Forensic, and Advanced Forensic. So that's actually what I taught from at the local college level. I'll help you spend the retirement check. Just let me know when you get ready. Anytime is creative. We eating steak fillet with a little shrimps on the side. shout out to retirement. So that's what I'm getting ready for. Definitely talk about Java, because some folks, these language skills aren't paying. Oh, Java, you can easily make 6 figures. Tam doesn't think that any money though. Shout out to Tam, but you can make 6 figures doing Java. The cool thing though is Java's getting to that point where it's a little outdated, but what's kind of like other things is Oracle's outdated, but there's a trillion lines that's already been written. So it's a ton of work out there. I get calls all the time. People asking me to help with their Java, and I'm like, I don't do that anymore. So, but I'm gonna shout out to Citizen Lou. He was actually doing Java. So I was reaching out to him. I'm gonna spin up an IDE and start doing some Java development and get my skills sharp. But yeah, Java's hot. JM's right. JavaScript has morphed into a more complete language. PHP's up in there. Rust is in there. Shout out to Tam. We're gonna talk about. I do cloud formation. I think she's Ansible and something else. So we talk about pick something and go with it, right? So the thing I do with is I'm AWS heavy. I'm focused on AWS. I'm getting certified, right? I'm doing my labs, right? So, and I was going to do a lab today, but my Oracle database on AWS wasn't acting right. But we're going to lab a little more. And 2 is when I set up my course. Of course, there's going to be built-in labs. There's actually a free tier in AWS that you can use for a year. So that's what we're going to use the lab. So at most, you might pay $30 a month on that. But the majority of the time, it'll be free. Just talking about my future courses. So shout out to Kev Tech. He asked me when I was going to do my course. I'm like, Kev, I'm trying to get certified first. I got to get some stuff done, get some stuff rolling. So once again, I'll drop the link. My Colts played Thursday. They ain't not looking good, man. We went from Super Bowl contender to we about to get somebody fired. but so that's it. Shout out to my man PGO. He's getting into the game. Check out my other guys. They're definitely more on the military, GI Bill. It's different programs and services you can sign up to help assist you with that. They know what those programs are. So definitely check those out. If you need me, ProfessorBlackOps@gmail.com. As an ex-professor, I get 48 hours to answer my emails. That's what the university used to tell me. I get 48 hours to answer my email. So yeah, that was it. And real quick on the end, we're about to just go over those slides for those videos I did this week. If you bored, just check me out on the replay. Discord right there is a dangerous place. Talked about the election voting. I know that's going to come up a lot. I'm so upset with Facebook. They're revoking internships from the babies. Hey, man, they need to honor those internships. The reason I did Oracle is I did a video of Larry Ellison. one of the original Oracle Fang before Fangs. They were running it in the 90s and the 2000s. Oracle was one of the big dogs and still one of the big dogs. And I interviewed a friend of mine on project management. A lot of people, non-tech jobs that can get in tech and make six figures. Shout out to Black Heights, good friend of mine. That was a great interview she did. I'm trying to get her to start a channel, so check her out. My 3 top technology careers, and I think they hit them in there. I think Hellman asked me cloud, security, artificial intelligence, machine learning, right? Those 3, but there's a plethora. Those are just my top 3 in the game. Alexa snitching on her boyfriend. Long story short, lady came home. Alexa say snippets of your conversation to make sure it's natural language is reading it's right. She clicked on one of them, and the lady was in her house telling Alexa to do other stuff. So Alexa was snitching on her boyfriend. So the 2 is like we talked. And 2 is boot camp, colleges, and certifications, right? So different ways to stay. I was thinking you were gonna follow the passport. I ain't touching that, JM. I don't want none of that smoke, man. I'm too old for that, JM. When you're in your 50s, you just need to get I'm working on my cholesterol, my weight, and I'm pre-diabetic, man. I got to give up pop, even though I just drank a pop, JM. I'm working on other stuff, man. I ain't touching that, JM. You trying to get old people in trouble. Shout out to JM. I don't want none of that life, JM. I'm leaving that alone. So that's it, fellas. What's up, Wayne? You got to check us out on the replay. But yeah, so once again, show the database some love. We talked about AWS, Oracle database. It really goes for any database. In the end, all of the attackers and hackers really wants to get in and get the database. That's where the HIPAA stuff is, social security numbers, bank accounts, all that stuff is usually stored in a database on the back end, right? That's what we need to do. Brother Michael laughing at me. Shout out to Brother Michael. Let's see what my man Wayne. What do you prefer, Oracle or Postgres? That's a tough question. I think once again, right hammer, right job. If I'm doing a big government contract and it's got government regulations, DOD, blah blah blah, and if the company's using Oracle, I could use Oracle. If it's a smaller client, middle stream, not a whole lot of security compliance, I probably use Postgres. Progress actually they took all the good parts of Oracle and put in Postgres. I could write a PL SQL routine and pretty much make a few changes and run it in Postgres. So I'm fluent in both of those. But I prefer Oracle because I just done it for a decade, Wayne. It's just I know it inside and out. Even though I haven't touched it in 5 years, I'm comfortable. I know pros and cons. I've took a billion rows and ran it through in a couple hours. So for me, it's just Oracle just because I've just used it for so long, Wayne. That's just it. It's just like me putting on a glove, man. I can just do my thing in Oracle. I don't think there's a project you can give me that I can figure out between Oracle and Java and some PL SQL. I feel like I can bend it to my will, Wayne. So Oracle's always going to be a little more pricey, but I feel like I got total control over it. Once again, I've been doing it forever, right? So there's just some out of rote memory. So I'm trying to get more comfortable with DynamoDB, Postgres, and Aurora. I think those are the new things that's going to actually that Amazon did convert from Oracle to those 3 different databases, right? So I'm trying to become fluent in all of those, but just out of habit, I've just done Oracle for so long. And I got guys I can hit on my cell phone that I know can help me in Oracle because that's what I did at DOD for 10 years, Wayne. So just out of habit. So once again, check out some of those videos if you're bored. I'm always, pushing interview, and I'm setting up an interview with a guy from Google. He's on their Google security team. So he said he's going to interview with me. So I'm setting it up. I'm setting up an interview with Salesforce, sales engineer. Coming up, another Google guy. He's actually a Bitcoin expert. We were chopping it up about Bitcoin, which I don't do a lot of, but from society and smart contract type stuff. What technology you're going to put on Bitcoin and how can you secure it? Because if you look at all the security, blockchain can get hacked, but everything that's hooking a blockchain so you can sell Ethereum and Bitcoin, right? Those off-market things so you can do arbitrage in those coins. Those are what's getting hacked, right? So how can we lock those down? Salute. I was talking about my man Kev Tech. Shout out to his I think you got a Udemy class. Chime in if I said it wrong. Shout out to Kev Tech. Check out his Udemy class. Check out his channel. I'm always in his Discord. Brother got me working though, but shout out to him. I'm always in the his Discord doing some work. I got to get in the B2B's Discord. So yeah, I'm out there. I appreciate that, Kev Tech. Let's go to the barbecue. I got to lose weight though, like Kev Tech, man. He getting in good shape. I'm getting old, man. I got to get a little better shape. A friend of mine is trying to get me into database engineering. He's doing Oracle, AWS, and Oracle. Easy 6-figure salary. Oh, easy. Oh yeah, you master that. Oh, he underpaid. You should be around 150 with that, Wayne. AWS alone, you put the Oracle back in, and you a database engineer. And the crazy thing is, talk to me. That skill set so rare because people don't give the database any respect, Wayne. No, that's easy. Yeah, easy 6 figures, man. You should be about 150 to be honest. Yep, check out my man Kev Tech. Check out his Udemy course. You could drop that in the you could drop your channel whatever you want to in the chat if you want to, Kev. Check him out. I'm on his Discord. You know, I'm out there asking the compliance questions, security questions. He was gracious enough to give me my own channel. So once this is over, I'll be dropping this in his my spot in his Discord for my little sub channel in there. So come check me out. And two is you know, you could with Keep It Techie. He sent people my way. If Kev Tech send you my way, you get bumped to the top of the line. I ain't got a long line, but if Kev Tech send you, you good with me. I'll give you preferred service. So I'm always in the Discord. Go sign up for his Discord. Like I said, I'm always in there showing love. He gave me my own little channel. So once again, I'm gonna start doing a little more compliance in there because that's what I do for a living. But yeah, Wayne Tech, let me know, Wayne Tech. Let's see when. I might have to pivot from the web development. No, that's a skill stack, Wayne. Don't pivot. What you do with that? Let me go back to Wayne. I'm jumping around, and that's how I actually grew, Wayne. Is when I started web development, part of our team we were taking the information from the web server and putting it into an Oracle database. So that's how I got good at Oracle databases. Is I became that SME for our team. So if your SQL was running slow or the insert didn't quite right or you got a weird error or our table space, because you got to give the table space in the old days. So that's the stuff I use. So I stack my skills. So once I got to Oracle database with the web development, then what we said, we just took that. Now I can do it in the cloud. So I could do Java. I was connecting Tomcat to Oracle database. Now we just run it in the cloud and AWS has those web servers. So now my skills stack, right? So I was the SME for the database because I understood that much, right? Then two is a lot of people really don't understand Java database connections to Oracle, right? Because you don't want to close them, right? You would just want to use them and put them back, right? So there's a lot of different techniques to use for that, Wayne. So just understanding that from a database perspective. So I became the Java, the Oracle on my team. Then, like you said, I started learning in the cloud, and that's why I want to get that database certificate in there, right? Because when you do, a lot of people think, oh, I'm doing web development, but when you insert, modify, those are selects. Where your indexes are you locking any of your data out? Do you have people overwriting changes? You made a change and he made a change and it was on the same record, so a change got lost, right? So how are you locking those records? B2B was just here. Sometimes you got to lock those records across databases, right? This insert's going in Oracle, this insert's going into SQL Server, and this third one's going to the database. How do you handle that as a transaction? If one of those failed, right, you got to roll all three of those back, Wayne. So, but let me get off of that. I can get on a soapbox, Wayne. I've done databases for 15 years, but all that stacks in your skills, Wayne, and you get better at that. I can stop breaking that line. Facts, PGO. We want to get you legal, man. And I'm 150. I'm low. Kev Tech can sell you. You get over to women in Linux and tell them they talking 300 and 400, man. It's poverty over here, PGO. But now we want to. Who was trying to get me in trouble? I think JM. No, brother Michael. Yeah, JM. I ain't mess with that passport, but we gonna get you a high value man, PGO. We gonna get you in that 6 figures, bro, so you can do it legally. Let's see, wait, well, shout out, salute to everybody. Salute PGO. Yep, man. We trying to get this legal money over here, man. I'm fat and I can't run no more. PGO, man. I got to do my stuff legal. But I hate it when folks write code. Oh, facts, man. I used to get in trouble for that too, Helmet. Facts. A true story. When I was in college, I never commented anything, man. I'd be at like an A+. He said, with comments, you could get 100. I've only gave you 90 because of comments. I'm like, I'm going home, man. Comments is another couple hours. I'm just going to take my A and go home, man. But no, just shout out. Let's see. Oh, that's my favorite subject. Real estate, IT money. This is what it's all about. Yeah. My Airbnb killing me, Kev Tech. I got an Airbnb trying to go up. The pandemic then came up and my appraiser ain't treating me well. But shout out. That IT money makes me be able to handle real estate. So shout out to Kev Tech. Yeah, I'm trying to get my Airbnb open in 2023. But yeah, let me know, Wayne. Wallace, we can actually talk. And if you look, I've got some DevSecOps where we talked about elastic beanstalk programming, how you put your program up in infrastructure, how do you deploy it, blue-green testing. And two is, like I said, I delved a little bit in database because we talked about SQL optimization, foreign keys, indexes, locking tables versus locking rows. That's a whole different thing, Wayne Wallace. But a lot of people are not hip to that because a lot of that's built into your languages, so it just works. But sometimes if you need to scale and it doesn't work, a lot of people don't know how to get under the hood and make that work, right? So that's one of my specialties I bring to cybersecurity is database technology, availability, and how hackers work, and really the inner workings, especially from an Oracle Postgres perspective. There's books on the internal workings of that. And when you need to scale a billion rows or 10 billion rows, you need those nuances of an insert statement. If you're dealing with 200,000-300,000 rows, it's going to work hardware is good. But when you do big data, especially artificial intelligence, machine learning, you need that skill set to get to the next level. But yeah, I'm not touching that that passport, red pill. I'm leaving that alone. I'm just strictly IT, and I'm just strictly IT. So once again, I'm gonna drop the link. I think I'm done. I'm sure everybody's gonna have a great week. Let's get the bag. Go check out my man's Discord. I'm in there. Shout out to Kev Tech. Shout out to B2B. I'm gonna get on his Discord. Kev Tech's got a lot of stuff going on his Discord. I'm in there. And once again, he was gracious enough to give me a sub channel. You'll see this in there probably in a couple minutes. And two is I'm gonna start, doing a few more compliance write-ups in there, and cybersecurity from a security analyst perspective. So. Me too, only IT. Yeah, they be getting a little salty, man. I don't want to be getting dragged. Thank you for your. Now, I appreciate that, Wayne Wallace. And two is, yeah, check on that. I think you right there, really, with the programming is definitely slides into database. Once again, you insert and updating from your web programming, then you just moving that database and web programming up to your cloud. I'm an AWS fanatic. Shout out to Helmet. He's on the Azure Life. I got a couple Google engineers coming in. Any of those big cloud, Salesforce. You get your skill set up in there, and you can make 100. Like you said, your buddy Easy 100, man. Because most people don't really understand a database. They just send Java, running their JPA or their Spring, and they just insert into their database. They take their object, insert the object, and behind the scenes, it's inserting 4 or 5 rows. It's deleting 2 or 3 rows. It does a lot of stuff in the Java objects I don't know. But once again, you understand that you can get paid. And there's a lot of different ways to get paid in IT. Been trying for years without like one. Facts, man. Salesforce is it, really. One guy came in, he didn't have any certs. He was just doing the labs. And he said they found him on the internet. He was making 100,000 just doing labs and getting those lab badges. He was getting the lab badges and people was reaching out. Once again, I got a Salesforce sales engineer gonna come on. We're gonna break it up with him. Like I said, I've worked with him off and on for years, and he worked for other vendors. So I did some assurance IT auditing on some stuff that his company was selling one time. So that's how we got cool. So I'm definitely gonna bring on him and start bringing on some I got some higher level people that I deal with, in the game, and how it actually moves in the game. So once again, I'm wrapping it up. Professor Black Ops, please subscribe. Have a great day. Holidays here, man. Like everybody else, I'm starting my diet in 2023 now. Halloween's here. And we know Thanksgiving is going to be Christmas. Then 2023. I think somebody else says, what's your goals? What you're trying to be? What Certs do you want to be? If there's anything I can do, reach out to me. Kev Tech's in the house. Definitely go support him. He's doing great things. I try to support him by helping him. He sends people to me to talk to. I'm in his Discord. I like to help people doing big things, man. Once again, I'm out. Everybody have a great Sunday. Help your football team win. Get healthy. Lab every day. I'm about to start labbing on Oracle database stuff. I did a lab last night, didn't go well, so I got to figure out what's going on with my security group, and my AWS is blocking my Oracle database, so I got to figure out what's going on. Oh, Casual Economist, check out the replay. Put your code, got a digital remote visa for Pat. There you go. Casual Economist starting stuff. Now, shout out to him. Enjoy the week. Have a good week. I'm out. I'm staying out of that, Casual Economist. I'm leaving that the passport bros alone. I'm leaving that. Lab now, kick him out. Facts, man. That's how you learn, man. That's how you learn. So I'm trying to figure out. I might do a boot camp myself. So I'm trying to figure it out, man. Once again, everybody have a great week. Let's get the bag. I see y'all out here on the streets. Go join some discourse. Check out Kev Tech. Keep it techie. Tech G, Black Heights, Women in Linux. That's some even. Before the Billions was on here, he dropped his channel in. Go check him out. Once again, Kev Tech donated to the barbecue. Shout out to Kev Tech. I'm out.